Hi, I'm Heyzeus, and this is another guide to making some profit from trade-ups. Now, before I start, just like with any of these videos I do, I'm just going to explain a couple of things about how the guide works. Firstly, the purchase prices I show are for buy orders. If you want to make money with trade-ups, you really need to be using them. Secondly, all the profits and losses I show are after Steam tax, so you don't need to worry about deducting that off it. And finally, just so there's no confusion, the prices shown are in US dollars and euros. Now, we're mostly going to stick to quite cheap trade-ups, but there was a request that I do some higher end stuff, so I thought I'd start off with something a bit more expensive and a bit more interesting. So this is what we're going to look at. It's a classified Spectrum Horizon trade-up, mostly focusing on the Horizon skins, so we're using 9 field-tested sort of devourers, which come in at about $2.65 US or €2.35 with a buy order. And we've also got a minimal wear Xiang glue thrown in there. Now, the Xiang glue is in there largely to keep the average float down. That needs to be kept below 0.1875, and all up, this will cost you $28 US or about 25 euros. Now, as for what you can get, this trade up is a total coin flip, so it's high risk, high return. So you can lose $12 or €10.50 on the Code Red, but you can make $22 or 19 euros on the Neon Rider. You've also got a 5% chance of getting a Neo Noir or a Bloodsport, and you'll lose $2 on the Neo Noir and you'll make $10 on the Bloodsport, but most of the time you won't be getting those, so it's not a big deal. Now, an attentive viewer might notice at the moment that this isn't my Steam account. This is a Steam account of somebody else. Now, as it happens, it's the Steam account of a friend of mine called Powek. And he's doing a super high-end version of the trade-up I've just shown. He does a lot of stuff like that, actually, and if you're interested, check out his channel. I'll link it in the description. But anyway, the reason I'm using Powek's footage is that my attempt to do this trade-up didn't go too well, and I thought it would be nice to actually show somebody getting a Neon Revolution, because it sure as hell didn't happen for me. So I'll give my screen a nice hard punch and we'll move on to the next trade-up. So back to the cheap stuff. This is an industrial grade trade-up focusing on Inferno 2018 collection skins, and it's using a special trick that I'll get into in a moment, but in short, we're using 7 factory new Mag 7 metallic DD packs from the Train collection, 3 skins from the Inferno collection, preferably a calf skin, a candy apple or a nitro, 2 of them in field tested condition and 1 of them in minimal wear condition. Now, you'll need to get the average float below 0.07 for this trade up, which is a bit of a balancing act. That the Mag 7 will generally come in extremely low floats, but I've got the 1 minimal wear skin in there just to make life a bit more easier, and all up, this trade-up will be about $1.10 or €1. So, as I said, this trade-up is exploiting a special trick. Basically, the trade-up contract is biased towards skins if there are more possible outcomes in that collection than there are in other collections. And it can be a bit confusing because CSGO Exchange doesn't show these odds by default. You'll need to change the way that they're calculated and reload the trade-up contract to see them. But it is a very important thing to be aware of, and we're going to completely take advantage of it. And as a result, your chances of getting a train skin aren't going to be 70%, they're only going to be 54%. And if you get it, it will rip pretty badly, but in the meantime, you've got an 11.5% chance of getting any of the Inferno skins, and you will still lose slightly on the brake light, but on the other 3, you'll pick up a pretty hefty profit. In fact, you'll basically triple your money on the check engine and the converter, and you'll get about 150% profit on the handbrake. So it is a bit risky, but it's also extremely cheap, and there is some really nice money to be made. So our third trade-up is a mil-spec Nuke 2018 trade-up. We're using Safehouse skins as the filler, and you'll need 3 P250 exchanges and 7 field-tested silver quartzes. With buy orders, it's about 30 cents for the exchanges and 11 cents for the silver quartzes, so all up you're looking at about $1.70 or €1.50. You'll need the average float below 0.214, which is pretty straightforward. These skins will typically come in the lower float end of the field-tested range. And similar to the last trade-up, we're going to be leveraging the bias that the trade-up contract has towards the Nuke skins again. Since they've got more possible outcomes, the trade-up's going to skew towards them. Now, this is still a risky trade-up. 62% of the time, you will lose money. You'll lose about $1 either from the Nitro or the Core Breach, but you've also got a 19% chance of getting a random access, which will make you $1, and you've got a 19% chance of getting a Nuclear Garden, and that'll make you $7 or €6 profit. So basically you'll get back more than 4 times your money, which is really sweet. So if you're willing to accept the risk and spam these, you can make a nice little return. See, it's covered in skulls. It makes me feel positive about life. Our fourth trade up is an Inferno version of the previous one, so you'll need 2 field tested SSG handbrakes and 8 factory new sawed off amber fades. The SSGs cost a bit more than $1 with a buy order, and the amber fades are more in the range of 15 cents, so the average float needs to be below 0.07 and your total cost will come to about $3.30 or €2.90. Now, this is quite a risky trade up. There's a 57% chance that you'll just outright lose your money, more or less, on the red quartz, but the remaining 43% of the time, you'll get some pretty neat stuff. You'll get about $2 profit on the Vino Primo, you'll get about $4.50 profit on the fade, and you'll make a whopping $11 on the safety net. So you have to be able to stomach some risk, but the payouts can be pretty good if you do. Now, this brings us to our final trade up, and this one is going to be quite cheap. We're going to do a mil-spec Horizon Case trade up. To do it, you'll need 10 mil-spec either capillaries or survivalists. Now, these will come in at around 15 cents or 13 euro cents each. You can buy these ones directly off the market rather than using buy orders. It doesn't really matter for this particular trade up. You need to keep the average float below 0.0875 and the total cost should come in at about $1.50 or €1.30. Now, this trade up does have quite a bit of risk. The profit is all in the AURT POR. The rest of the time you'll be losing anywhere from 90 to 40 cents or 80 to 35 euro cents. But the AURT POR is such a ridiculous profit, like literally 300% profit, that it balances out everything else and then some. And obviously this is the type of trade up contract that you want to spam. You want to do lots of them to balance out the risk. Luckily, it's fairly easy to get the inputs, which makes it quite easy to spam them, and so long as you're patient, you will get some pretty good returns. Having said that, I'm not that patient. Now, before I go, I do have a promotional plug to make. There's a website that was recently launched called TradeUpHero, which uses an algorithm to find profitable trade-ups, lots of them, as you can see, and it's got all grades of skins covered. It's got stat track, it's got non-stat track, it lets you see the average cost and the average return, as well as the level of risk and the float you'll need. So all the details, and there's some additional features like favoriting trade-ups, and you can load up your inventory and pick out skins and test out trade-ups and that. So it's really handy for finding profitable trade-ups, and I actually based several of the trade-ups in the video on stuff that I found on the site. Now, the free version is capped at a 30% profit rate on trade-ups. You can upgrade to the pro version for $10 of skins a month, and that will remove that cap. And if you look at the images I was showing earlier, there are plenty of trade-ups with higher rates of profit than that, and algorithm does wonders in finding them. So if you're interested, I've got my referral link to the site in the description, just to be upfront about how that referral link works. Essentially, if you log into the site after using it, I'll get a cut of any subscription you purchase within 14 days, so there's no ambiguity about my stake in this. And if you have feedback about the site or any technical issues, send me an email and I'll give you the owner's email to contact him. I'm sure there will be some slightly more orthodox means of contacting the owner in the near future, but I think this has only just been set up, so it's just a bit unorthodox at the moment. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching. See ya.